Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood before the assembled Galactic Council, her small frame dwarfed by the towering representatives of a dozen alien species. The Kitharan delegate, a crystalline being that scraped the chamber's ceiling, looked down at her with what passed for amusement among his kind. The Zephyrian war chief's 6 arms gestured dismissively, his mandibles clicking in barely concealed contempt. The Terran delegation wishes to address the Council regarding the proposed resource allocation treaty, announced the Council's AI moderator, its voice echoing through the vast chamber. Elena stepped forward, her voice carrying clearly despite its quiet tone. Honored delegates, I come before you not as a conqueror but as a voice for reason. The Kitharan delegate Prime Crystal Zethkar resonated with what humans had learned to recognize as laughter. Reason? Your species has been part of this galaxy for barely 3 cycles. What could you possibly understand about the delicate balance we have maintained for millennia? Elena smiled, the expression somehow more unsettling than any show of anger would have been. We understand enough to know that your delicate balance has left 17 species, extinct, and 43 others on the brink of starvation, while your empires feast on their worlds. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Facts were dangerous things when spoken so plainly. War Chief Krexnoth of the Zephyrian hegemony rose to his full 3-meter height, his chitinous armor gleaming under the chamber's lights. You dare accuse the Council of— I accuse no one, Elena interrupted, her voice remaining perfectly level. I simply state what your own records confirm. She gestured, and holographic data began materializing in the air around her. Population statistics, resource distribution charts, trade agreements that favor established powers while systematically excluding developing worlds. The data hung in the air like accusations made manifest. Elena walked among the projections, her soft footsteps the only sound in the suddenly silent chamber. For example, she continued, the Kitharan Confederation controls 67% of the galaxy's dilithium mines, yet contributes only 12% to humanitarian aid efforts. The Zephyrian hegemony's military budget exceeds the total economic output of the Outer Rim territories by a factor of 8. Prime Crystal Zethkar's form flashed an angry orange. How dare you question our sovereign right to— I question nothing, Elena said, turning to face him directly. I merely observe, and what I observe is a system designed to perpetuate itself at the expense of those too weak to resist. She moved to the center of the chamber, where a holographic map of the galaxy slowly rotated. With a gesture, she highlighted trade routes, resource flows, and military installations. The pattern that emerged was unmistakable. A vast web with the major powers at its center, drawing resources inward while keeping the periphery dependent and weak. We humans have a saying, Elena continued, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. She paused, letting the translation protocols work. But there's a corollary that's less often quoted. Unless you control the lake, in which case you sell him fish forever. The Altarian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a shimmering field, pulsed with what Elena had learned to recognize as distress. The human speaks of matters beyond her understanding. The current system ensures stability. Stability for whom? Elena asked, her voice still soft but somehow filling the chamber. For the Kitharan Confederation, whose crystal cities grow more magnificent each year while the mining worlds that fuel them see their populations decline. For the Zephyrian hegemony, whose warriors grow fat on tribute while former allies starve on depleted worlds. She walked to a viewing port that showed the galaxy beyond. Billions of stars representing trillions of lives. Stability built on oppression is not stability. It's pressure building in a closed system. And pressure, honorable delegates, always finds a way to release itself. War Chief Krexnoth's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. Are you threatening the Council, human? Elena turned back to face the assembly, and for a moment something flickered in her eyes that made several delegates step back. I threaten no one. I simply share an observation from human history. Every empire that has ever fallen has done so not because it was conquered from without, but because it rotted from within. Because it forgot that power without legitimacy is just violence waiting for an excuse. She gestured again, and new data appeared. Human colony ships, trade agreements offering fair terms, defensive pacts with smaller species. Humanity offers an alternative. Not conquest, but cooperation. Not dominion, but partnership. The Catharan prime crystal's orange glow deepened. And if we refuse this? Partnership? Elena's smile returned, gentle and terrible. Then you refuse it. That is your choice. She paused, looking around the chamber. But I wonder, how long can a system based on fear maintain itself when its subjects discover they are no longer afraid? She moved toward the chamber's exit, her soft footsteps somehow ominous in the silence. At the threshold, she turned back one last time. The treaty I've proposed offers a path forward, one where all species prosper, where strength is measured not by how much you can take, but by how much you can give. You have 30 standard days to consider it. As she prepared to leave, Prime Crystal Zethkar called out, "And if we reject your proposal?" Elena paused, not turning around. "Then in 31 days, you'll discover why the smartest predators in any ecosystem are rarely the biggest ones." The door sealed behind her with a soft hiss, leaving the assembled delegates to contemplate her words. In the silence that followed, each representative found themselves calculating not the strength of their fleets or the size of their territories, but something far more unsettling: the loyalty of their subjects, the stability of their foundations, and the growing whispers of a small, unremarkable species that spoke softly, but carried a very big idea. Revolution, they realized, didn't always announce itself with the roar of cannons. Sometimes it arrived with nothing more than a quiet voice asking uncomfortable questions. And 30 days later, when 17 member species withdrew from the Council to join humanity's Commonwealth of Equals, the remaining empires learned a truth as old as civilization itself. The most dangerous enemy isn't the one who threatens to destroy you. It's the one who offers your people something better.